Hello there everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have another video for you all. We'll be talking about some things to look out for when you are planning to move to DC and some steps that you should take to ensure that you have a lower rate of rent, the best price available, and some programs or resources that could actually reduce your rent costs. The end of this year will make 3 years since I've been in DC. Let me tell you what I have learned. Okay, if you're gonna move here, I don't care where you're moving from, if it's possible, you need to go ahead, book you a flight, take a road trip, and come to DC and tour some apartments. Okay, originally when I moved here, I used like a roommate.com. I don't know. I used a roommate website and that connected me with a girl. Essentially, I was gonna have a roommate. So we were looking at 2-bedroom apartments. So when I was researching apartments, I was coming up with ideas, but she was already from the area. So if you can, and if you do plan to have like a roommate person probably lives somewhere in the area, their suggestions may be better than yours, especially because they may be familiar with the different communities within DC versus someone who's coming from out of state. Unless you know DC well, definitely use someone who has a voice of reason when you're picking your apartment and looking at places to choose. Like every apartment that I had mentioned to her, she was like, no. And rightly so, because these apartments look great. And I know we can all note this about lots of different places. Apartment websites and the pictures are gonna look great, okay? But you definitely want to get an inside scoop. Read all the reviews, okay? Read the reviews. So definitely come to DC ahead of time and tour a bunch of places. I think I toured about 6 places. I moved here in December of 21 and I came up in October of 21. I took my friends and my boyfriend. We all came up here. This was just supposed to be, what are the apartments looking like? And we had a really good time, had a lot of excursions, but the main point was which apartments am I going to look at, okay? I had already called ahead and scheduled all my tours ahead of time. I think I went to 5 of my scheduled tours. One place that like they didn't have my reservation for my apartment tour on schedule, which was weird because I got like a confirmation. But anyway, so definitely call ahead to the places that you book and make sure at least maybe a few days before your tours that everything is still set. When I toured with my cousin earlier this year, I can't remember if she came up in December or something like that, but she moved up here like March. So same process, okay? She moved up, she came up here, you know, stayed at a hotel, went to several apartment tours. And if you just want to be in the DMV, definitely consider other areas such as like Arlington, maybe Silver Spring, Alexandria, wherever you feel more comfortable at. For me, I wanted to live in DC. I did not want to be too far from work. When I was searching for apartments, I was putting in where my work was going to be located to that apartment address so I can see what average traffic will be like. I knew I wasn't bringing a car up, so I needed to see, you know, which metro lines I would need to take. If you are bringing a car up, maybe parking price is something that you want to consider. Like parking in DC is going for about $300 right now if you live in like a luxe apartment. Now, my cousin lives in Alexandria and her parking is $75. So these are things that you need to consider. Plan on bringing your car up here, okay? Decide what kind of commuter you're gonna be. And even she doesn't drive her car that much. So consider that. How are you gonna get to and from work? What's your commute gonna be? And factor those things into your apartment search. Definitely check the apartment's website several months before you're actually going to move, because this will allow you to, sometimes they'll put, you know, like they'll say, oh, apartment available June 1st. But if it's March and they already have that apartment listed because that person has signed, that person has already agreed to move out, you can have a lock on that apartment, which will give you more time to move in, and your lease won't officially start until June, so you're saving money by going ahead and booking that apartment. Granted, when I found the apartment that I really wanted, they allowed me to move in on my preferred date, which was like the middle of December 15th. So I signed my lease like 2 months in advance, and it was completely fine, no worries. I went ahead and did all the stuff. Now, when you are shopping for apartment, that I will always do if I continue to rent is consider concessions. So concessions are things like, if you've never heard that before, concessions: 2 months free, 1 month free, waived amenities fee, half off first month's rent, you know, stuff like that, half off next month's rent. Make sure if there are concessions that are that's even better. Some apartment complexes may put some stipulations on how you can use those concessions, but for my very first apartment here, I got 2 months free, right? And I think my amenity fee of $500 went towards my rent, which was nice. So when I moved into my apartment, I think I only had to pay like $900, okay? And plus it was in the middle of the month, so it wasn't like I had to pay the whole month, which was nice. I've never had to pay like first and last month's rent. I've never had to do that, and I've never had to do a security deposit so far. But I know everyone's situation is different depending on your credit status and stuff like that. So definitely take those concessions into consideration. 2 months free is like chef's kiss. I was able to prorate that, like $3,400 over the life of my lease. And I think I either signed a 14-month lease or something like that. So I was able to prorate that credit on every month of my lease, which my base rent for my first apartment here was $1,762. So I think every month I was taking off like $294 or something, $293. So my rent was somewhere around $1,480. It was 14 something. So I'll put the amount on the screen. That really helped. That brought my rent down. It was really, really good that my rent wasn't so expensive, and I really enjoyed that. When I had to renew my lease, my rent did go up. So if you are renewing and you're even if your rent only went up like $50 or $25, I would suggest writing a letter to leasing, letting them know that you have been an excellent tenant. If you have, if you were shady with the rent payments, maybe don't do this, but you can still like try to make your case that you don't think that your rent should go up. And you know, sometimes your rent probably will still go up, but they may just reduce the amount that it's gonna go up. It may, because I remember they tried to raise my rent like $400 when I went to renew, and I wasn't having that. So it ended up being raised like $200 something. But if I renewed by a certain date, I got 1 month free. So my base rent was like, I think $1,750 something with the new lease or whatever, which was, I mean, not terrible, but it is what it is. So yeah, definitely use your concessions to your advantage, especially if you plan on staying in that unit and yada yada yada. Definitely use those resources. Waived amenity fees are nice, but they don't really hold that as much weight. I want months free, okay? I'm gonna need months free. When I moved to my new apartment, I think I got half off of next month's rent when I moved to this current apartment. And I got waived amenity fee as well. So I moved in the middle of the month, so I didn't have to pay whole rent anyway. And now my new rent is like $1,728. That's my base rent. My actual rent amount now is less than I paid at my old apartment, but my new place is bigger and has a lot more space. Also, I will stock apartments leasing. I will stock an apartments website, because you never know when, whatever time of month, the prices can change every day. And there are certain times a year. It was late winter when I signed my new lease in February, and yeah, I stocked that apartment. I stocked the website, okay? I stocked it for weeks. If you find a place that you really, really like, definitely keep checking back. Keep checking back. I don't know how else to say it. Keep checking back. And you'll be surprised. I think wintertime is a good time to move. you can probably find lower rates during that period of time. Correct me if I think so. I think that's pretty true. Considering how low my rent is right now, that's why I think I signed a 15-month lease, because every time that it's time to renew, I'm trying to extend the lease out as far as I can. With this current lease, I was only able to extend it to about 15 months. So if you have like a similar situation, if you like the area, try to extend it out as far as you can. Just me, I love to get a good deal, okay? I need a good deal. Now let's talk about some rent type programs that DC has. So DC has inclusionary zoning, which is basically like a lottery based system, but it's very random, okay? So you can apply for a certificate. Most apartments, I think, built after a certain point in time, but most newer build apartments have inclusionary zoning. That means that there are units set aside for people who don't exactly make the rent amount that they're actually advertising. So what they've done is they have maybe a certain number of apartments in the building, and these are kind of like, I don't want to say they're kind of rent controlled, but they're at different rates than what the standard going price of that apartment would be. So these prices, so these income levels are at like a 50% level. I think they're at a 60%, and then 80% of the median family household income, whatever. When I was moving to a new apartment, I considered inclusionary zoning, which requires you to get a certificate. Now I don't qualify at like the 50% or the 60%. I can't remember if there's a 70%, but there's also an 80%, which I did fall under the 80% of the median family income guidelines. So I was looking for apartments that were at that income level. The 80% really isn't, what they'll do is this program you'll get your certificate, and then once you take there's a class that you need to take. I think it's like an hour or 2 hours, I can't remember, but you will take this, I'll put links below, but you will take this class, you'll get your certificate. It'll be emailed to you in like a couple days, but I think mine came instantly, but they tell you give it like a certain amount of time before you can receive it, but I received mine pretty quick, and most people will too. But essentially, once you get the certificate, and you'll be then given a link to where you can take your certificate little code on your certificate, sign up and register to be on this like special listing for these lottery based units, your email, and then you will just begin to receive all these emails about the available units. Again, since it's a lottery based system, it's best to start early with some of these, because you may or may not get picked, you know? It's a lottery, so a lot of people are applying, and they'll tell you what number you are in line, but sometimes I think if you get number 8, you know, it's probably best to be one of the lower numbers than being one of the farther out numbers. But it really is a gamble, so don't bank that you're gonna just move into a inclusionary zoning apartment with a reduced rate. Now these rent rates at the 50% level, I think at my apartment we offer like these special units at the 50% income level, which will put the rent about like $1,200. Can you imagine paying $1,200? And it was dang near a 2-bedroom. It was like a 1-bedroom with a den, and the den had window, it had closets and a door. That's a bedroom to me. So I was gonna make it an office if I got approved. So I did not get approved because I did not know it was only at the 50% level when we were talking about it. But I applied. I went through the whole process of getting this unit, okay? I went through the whole process. Another type of program that DC has is affordable dwelling units. So the ADU program, you don't really need to apply for anything to get an ADU, okay? You can literally call an apartment, find out if they have ADUs, and like apply directly with the apartment. You don't have to fill out anything special. Again, ADUs are also offered at the 50, 60, and 80% threshold, okay? And I think ADUs can go up to 100% as well. But a lot of ADUs at the 80 to like 100%, rent is still $2,000. Rent is still $2,000, okay? So, but some of them are like $1,600, but you have to really your best bet is to call up apartment complex directly. Hi, I would like to inquire about your ADU units. Do you have any available? If they say yes, at what income, ask them what income level they're available at, and if you can tour it, and what that process will look like. How do you continue with that process? A lot of them will tell you, oh, we do the lottery-based system and da-da-da, which is the inclusionary zoning. So those programs can be very, very helpful. I've done both things. The current apartment that I'm in now, I did apply for the ADU, but again, I did not know it was at the 50% income level. That's it. That's all I wanted to talk about. We talked about coming up to tour first, okay? Tour the area, tour multiple areas, get inputs, reach out to people on Facebook, join DMV friends groups or whatever, and see what people are saying about specific neighborhoods. Get on Reddit, listen. Find out, is this really where you want to live, okay? Definitely research the neighborhoods that you want to live at and what you plan to be doing out here. I think if you do those things, then you should be okay. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope these tips helped you. They definitely helped me. My next place, oh, also I forgot to mention, even if the last thing I want to say about the inclusionary zoning, it applies to houses too. Girl, if you find a house that you like on the lottery system, you can get you a house as well. I also think they kind of go with the first time home owner grants and stuff. Definitely look out for that if you are like, okay, I don't want to live in an apartment, but they got a house. Yes, they do housing as well. I think you have to live at the residence for like 5 years or something, but hey, there are programs out here to make living here more affordable. Okay, I hope this helps, and you may be shocked to know that you qualify for things that you didn't even think about. I also know that in DC there's an energy, I think it's low income, there's a low income energy program, and I thought I didn't qualify. I think it's like 90 is like the low income. You can get, I forgot how much you can get, but you can get a certain amount of money off your like electric bill per year. Here, check the income limits and see if you qualify. Thank you all for watching. If you want more tips about living in the city or fun stuff to do in DC, I be out here now and be having a good time. I can definitely do videos about that. Anyway, thank y'all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.